Hey guys, Kuoku here. I want to make something completely clear before I start this video. I don't like throwing around the words like broken, OP, or busted when it doesn't truly apply. But if any character in the game can be considered broken, it will be Ruan Mei. She is an SSS tier unit, no doubt. Now let me explain. I don't think she'll be so broken that future characters like Sparkle lose their value. If anything, I believe Ruan Mei sets a good precedent for future characters since she is the first limited harmony 5-star. So she's pretty much the baseline going into the future, and if anything, future characters will probably be stronger than older ones, since that is kind of how it goes in these type of games. So I'm going to be explaining how her kit works and give you guys some insight on why Ruan Mei is going to be so strong. They didn't go super in depth explaining this during the live stream, so let's look deeper into how Ruan Mei works. Ruan Mei is a support character capable of increasing allies' weakness break efficiency, speed, and all type resistance penetration. At the same time, Ruan Mei can also deal additional break damage whenever any allies weakness break an enemy, causing the weakness broken enemy's actions to be further delayed. So of course the key here is weakness break efficiency. This is why Ruan Mei is so strong, one of the reasons anyway. They haven't disclosed the actual numbers yet, so I can't really speak on that. But I will say, if you know, it is a very strong amount. There's a clear pattern here with her kit when it comes to weakness breaking and depleting enemy shields. Weakness break efficiency and damage bonus come from her skill, and what makes this skill so insane is that not only does it last for 3 turns, it applies to the entire party. Other supports like Bronya and Tingyun have skills that have a significant damage bonus, but only apply to a single ally. Keeping that in mind, dual DPS comps are probably going to be extremely strong once Ruan Mei is out. With that out of the way, it's time to talk about her ultimate, because all that I just mentioned was just in regards to her skill. Ruan Mei's ultimate, just like her skill, applies to the whole party and gives them an all-type resistance penetration buff, which essentially means that no matter what element you're using, enemies become weaker to that element. So you pretty much ignore all elemental resistance that the enemies have. It's kind of comparable to Silverwolf's skill, which applies weakness onto the enemy directly, but it's not exactly the same because with Ruan Mei, you're not actually applying any weakness, you're just ignoring those resistances like they don't even exist. If you want a much deeper and better explanation, you can check out Gacha Smack's video on this. I'll have it linked in the video description. He does a far better job than I ever could of explaining how elemental resistance penetration works. The TLDR is, when an enemy is not weak against a certain element, your DPS will lose nearly 50% of their damage against that enemy because of the enemy's elemental resistance. But if you're using Ruan Mei, the whole team just ignores that resistance like I said, and so that is where her true strength really shows. This penetration applies to all types of damage, by the way, including break effect, dot, anything, any damage in the game. Ruan Mei's ultimate is just unbelievably strong. And sadly, we don't actually know what her talent does yet. Well, not officially anyways, but just imagine for a second if there was another damage bonus on there, on top of the penetration, on top of her skill damage bonus, she is just going to be broken, guys, okay? Hopefully it makes sense now why I called her that, but there is even another part of her ultimate that I haven't even talked about yet. So there's an additional turn delay that she puts on the enemies when they get their shield broken. So an extra turn that they stay weakness broken. And this is one of the reasons why Welt is going to be so strong with Ruan Mei, because not only is he imaginary, which further delays enemies with imprisonment when they get weakness broken, plus his ultimate has a delay as well. So literally the enemies are never going to take a turn. They're just going to be taking a nap. They're going to be cosmetic enemies at that point. We could even potentially see sustainless comps with Ruan Mei, because, well, if enemies are never taking a turn, then why would you need to heal? So, as you can see, she's just so strong. And here's the other thing. Break effect might be the most undervalued, ignored stat in the entire game, but with the content we currently have in the game, you aren't really required to think about weakness breaking or having a dedicated breaker on your team or anything like that. Maybe that will change with future content, but in the current state of the game, it really just isn't necessary for the most part. Therefore, I don't blame people for not paying attention to weakness break, because you don't have to. When Ruan Mei is released though, the true value of breaking the enemy's toughness is going to become much more apparent. And to keep it short, if you're breaking an enemy and they're immediately taking a turn, then you're breaking wrong. But but in a moment I'm going to show you how to break properly and show you the effects of it when you're doing it correctly. This is Memory of Chaos Stage 9, and I'm not going to show you guys this entire fight because the whole purpose of this is just to showcase the strength of break effect. So I'm going to be cutting it up, and this is definitely not a normal team comp by any means. I put this together specifically for this showcase. It's not awful, but I wouldn't use this. The point is, I loaded my Welt with as much break effect as I could. He's on 200.9% break effect. I didn't have my Welt built, and I had to build him just for this video, so please leave a like to pay respects to my resources. So my plan here is to basic attack one of the mobs, then immediately use Welt's ultimate to break all 3 enemies since his ult does the most delay. The Automaton Spectral Envoy, the main target here, is on 31 in the turn order. They're actually going next. So if I were to basic attack it, it would go all the way down to 148, which is well into the next cycle, and that's not bad. You can tell by this number here, or you can track this cube to tell when the next cycle is. And skill is the same as basic attack, by the way. But you can see on their own, this isn't bad. But if I were to use his ultimate, you'll see it's going to go down past 200, which is 2 cycles. 100 turn value is about 1 cycle. So check out these values, guys. This top fish was already broken, so ignore that. But 212, 373, and 402, that's insane. That's 4 cycles. So think about this. This is without Ruan Mei. Now imagine with Ruan Mei how much further they would be delayed. That's all I have to say. Hopefully this shows how powerful break effect is and why Ruan Mei is so crazy strong. Ruan Mei is busted. Anyways, I wanted to show the stats and build on my Welt. I'm honestly embarrassed to show this because yeah, he's definitely a bit rough. Just keep in mind that the entire build was to get as much break effect as possible. He's got probably the most abysmal crit ratio I've ever seen in my life. The speed is awful. The stats are just bad, okay? But that's besides the point. So don't worry about that. The main thing here is the break effect sitting at 200.9%. He's on the Herd of Store light cone because it has break effect. I put him on the break effect set for obvious reasons. And yeah, this is not a normal build. He's on random planar relics that had high break effect stats. He doesn't even have set bonus. This is all purely for break effect. He's E1 by the way, which doesn't really matter in this case for this scenario. And he's not fully leveled even. He's max ascension, but ain't no way I'm using my character XP right before Ruan Mei arrives. Ain't no way. Eventually I'll properly build Welt though because, well, I felt his true power and value after doing this video. And I'll quickly show what his ult does as well. The part at the bottom here is what's the important thing. Imprisoned enemies have their actions delayed by 37% and speed reduced by 10%. I also forgot to show the traces. I don't even have these maxed out either. He's at 775 and 3 on basic attack. He's definitely not fully invested into, and he was already doing that much delay. But yeah guys, that's pretty much it. That's going to wrap it up for this video. I think I've covered everything on why Ruan Mei is so broken, why break effect is so powerful, and how it's going to become even stronger once Ruan Mei is out. So hopefully that gave you guys some insight on that. And if you were on the fence about pulling for her or not, I hope this video has helped you decide. What are your summoning plans for Ruan Mei? Are you getting her? Are you not? Let me know if you are or not and why. I'd love to know why. Genuinely just curious. So let me know in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe for more Honkai Star Rail content. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.